In this video, we're going to take a look at Luminar AI, the beta version, of course, and the portrait tool. So we're going to go through Face AI, Skin AI, Body AI, and also we're going to take a look at High Key, all of the tools that are under the Luminar AI Portrait tab. And let's go ahead. Hi, my name is William Beem. I'm a portrait photographer in Central Florida. The folks at Skylum were nice enough to give me a beta copy of Luminar AI that's coming up this holiday season. And with that, I wanted to do some videos to kind of show how to use the tool, what's inside the tool, and some of the features that it may have. In this video, we're going to be looking at the portrait tab and the tools that are underneath that. Please keep in mind, this is beta software, so not everything is perfectly fixed yet. There are bugs going through the program that we're reporting in back to Skylum so they know what's going on. But I think it's actually kind of a nice little change. They've added some features here compared to what was in Luminar 4, and particularly with the Body AI and the Skin AI. So we're going to go ahead and start with this photograph right here. All right, we've got a portrait set up. If you're not familiar with it, you can get to the portrait tools. Going over here on the right-hand side, you'll see various little highlighted things. There's the essentials, there's the creative, and the third one down is portrait. Once you're under portrait, you have 4 different tools that are underneath. So we're going to start off with face and take a look at what's available. You've got 2 options here, face light and slim face. Both of these were available under Luminar 4. So face light is kind of what it says. It brightens up the face. So the tool is automatically detecting the subject and just helping you enhance the face. I'm going to turn this up a little bit beyond halfway and do a slider or a compare so you can kind of see the difference in the light. So this is where we were with our original image, and this is with face light. How much you use depends upon the portraits that you have and what you need, but you can tell that it's not overexposing the rest of the photograph. It's really concentrating its power on her face. So I'm going to turn the face light off, and now we're going to go into slim face. I like to use this on a very low percentage. So typically if I did this, it would be maybe around 10, maybe even less than that in some cases. Can you tell that anything happened? Let me go ahead and hit the before and after. So this is before, and this is after. And if you look right here on the eyes on each side, you can see a very subtle adjustment. Now, I've only used it up to 10. We can take this all the way up to 100, and we'll see a much more drastic effect on her face. So let's take a look at, this is before, and this is after. I would not recommend using it that much. People know what they look like. They don't want to look like they've been digitally enhanced. They want to look at a photograph and say, oh, I didn't know I looked that good. So what they're looking for is what I call an acceptable illusion. 100, in my opinion, is not an acceptable illusion. So take a look at the plants and vegetation back here as I turn this on and off. And you can see that it's kind of warping that as well. And it has to, because it's got to do something with the pixels if you just slim their face. I think this is a very useful tool. I think it gives people that acceptable illusion of how good they look. And it's one of my favorite tools to use on a portrait, men and women of all ages. I think even people who are in really good shape look just a little bit better when you've slimmed their face down. And that's why the tool exists. So here's, again, before, and there's after. A subtle difference, I think, makes a big difference. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and turn that one off. And we're going to leave face. We're going to go on to skin. This one is, again, going to depend upon your subject. So in this case, we can see that we have an older female with, a few wrinkles on her face, and that's fine. That's acceptable. You can bring this up, and I'm going to do it for effect. I'm going to bring it up to 50%. And you can see how it's really smoothing her skin out. So we're looking at before and after. So this is the before, and this is the after. If you look up here in the forehead, I'll go ahead and do the before and after again. So this is before, and this is after. The idea is to reduce the wrinkles, not eliminate them. A person of a certain age, if they have wrinkles, you're expected to have wrinkles. They're going to know that you faked something, whether it's the person themselves that's looking at their photo or someone who knows them that's looking at the photo. You need to have some wrinkles, but what you want to do is soften them. That's why we don't take it, all the way over. So if we go to 100%, it doesn't look like the same person anymore. You start losing pores, you start losing texture and things that define that subject. So this is with 100% on, and let's go take a look at before and after. Matter of fact, I'm even going to zoom in just a little bit. I'm going to zoom in more than a little bit. We'll go to 200%. So this is before, and this is after. You can tell that we still have texture. We still have the lines. They've been reduced. In my opinion, they've been reduced too much for this person. I would never take skin smoothing to 100%. So I brought this down. I'm going to say about 25 right there. And let's go ahead and zoom back out. We're going to fit the screen. Now, the next one is shine removal. And you can see we've got a little bit of specular highlights over there, a lot over here where the light is coming from. Decide if you need this or not. It's really meant for, I think, harsher light than we have here. I'm going to take this up to 50. And if you want to get rid of the specular highlights, I think this is a very good tool. It does it in what I think is a very natural way. So you don't see a sudden blotch of skin. It's doing a great job. Something over here where there's obviously a light source, I don't expect it to take that away. I think on this portrait, shine removal did not have quite as much of an impact as you might typically expect. And again, this isn't terrible shine. We're looking for more specular highlights, and this is going to be far more than I think any tool is going to do naturally or believably, because you can tell that the source of light is coming from there. The last item on here is skin defects removal. We can just basically check that box. This is for probably younger people that might have maybe a little bit of acne, maybe have some spots on them. I don't see that happening with this subject. I've seen the skin defects removal work. We'll try it on another subject as well too. Mostly what I'm looking at over here is the skin smoothing, and we'll see if we can't try the shine removal on another subject as well. Okay, so I have another subject here, and I've zoomed in to 200%. Let's try the shine removal here. I think you're going to see an impact here that you didn't see on the previous subject. I'm going to start off about 50% or so, and let's take a look at before and after. So this is our before, this is our after. If you take a look right around here, under the eyes, just above the cheeks, I think you're going to see what we're looking for. So this is our before, this is our after. So you can see, and even on the tip of the nose of the subject, I'm going to do this again. So this is our before, and this is our after. So you can see how it's really removed the shine there. And that's 49, so about 50%. I'd like to start about there to see what the result is. And then I'll determine if I'm going to add more shine removal or if I'm going to back off. In most cases, I don't need quite that much, I'd say, because I want a little bit of variation. I want a little bit of highlight in some places, but I don't necessarily need specularity coming up. And that's kind of what I'm looking for. If I see too much specularity, then I'll go ahead and bring it up just a little bit more. But if I bring it all the way over and I completely remove the highlights, then that's a defining quality of how you interpret someone's face. You're looking for highlights and shadows, and that's what's going to add contrast and help contour the face. And we can go ahead and click Skin Defects Removal. So on this subject, again, I don't think that we've got anything over here that's really going to affect them. I can bring up the skin smoothing, and you can see how it's really changed her complexion over here. I think that's a bit too much for this subject. I would probably bring them down. And maybe between 25 and 30 is usually where I like to go. So let's go one more before and after. So this is before, and that's after. Okay, let's go get another photograph for the body AI. Okay, so I decided we'd do this with a male subject, and this is our friend Vanelli. If you haven't seen the videos that he's putting out on YouTube, go look for Coffee Talk. He does Luminar videos all the time, teaching everything, and he just puts out some great stuff. So go check out Vanelli on Coffee Talk. Now, I took this photo of him years ago at Photoshop World. He was just kind of goofing around at one of the photo bays. So that's why he's not looking at me. There's a bunch of people taking his photo. All right, so when we get into the body AI, you notice we've got three choices. There's body, abdomen, and abdomen area. Okay, let's go ahead and start right at the top with body. And here's how it's going to work. If you pull this to the left, it's going to kind of plump up their body. If you pull it to the right, it's kind of slim down their body. So I'm sorry, Vanelli, but let's go ahead and do this to you. I'm going to go ahead and pull this over to the right. And it just kind of bulked him up. So let me do a little before and after. So this is where he was naturally, and this is what we've made him. Now, he's not going to like that, so let me go ahead and bring this over here, and I'm going to take it all the way to 100. This is where he was before, and this is what we've done to him, poor man. Let me take this back down. I think this is kind of like face slimming. It's something that you do very subtly to enhance your subject, not to distort them into something that they are not. So right now we're at about 13. I'd say if we had gone from here at 0, and by the way, if you just double click the name of the title of the slider, it'll take you right back to 0. I would put him probably between 10 and 15. It's just a little bit of slimming on the body. and here's before and after. You wouldn't notice it as a freakish change. It's just say, hey, I look better than I thought I did. And that's exactly what you want to deliver to a portrait client. You don't want to come all the way over to the other side and make them look like something that they know they're not. And because that's not going to make anybody feel good. So again, Vanelli, I apologize for using you as my subject on this one, but it had to be somebody. So it was you. Now the abdomen I think is kind of interesting. So we'll go ahead and take a look down here. 4950. Okay. So you probably didn't see a change, but let's go ahead and hit the before and after. So this is before and this is after. Right down in this little area right here, it's just kind of pulled that back in. That's just before and this is after. It's a nice little change. We'll probably want to try that on somebody without a shirt sometime to see how it affects their skin. But if your portrait subjects look like they might have something over here that you just want to change, pull the abdomen up. And you don't have to do it to 50. You can decide for your subject what's right. In this case, honestly, I wouldn't use this tool on Vanelli here on this subject because I don't think it makes a difference that really enhances him. It's interesting, to go ahead and hit the button to see before and after, and you can see the change there. I don't think it improves who he is. So in this particular photo, I would not go ahead and change that abdomen. It's not really making a difference for him. So let's try this once again with before and after. You can see it's just kind of like moving the material around on this photo. On another photo, it might be very different. This item for abdomen area, I'm going to skip. I don't know if this is complete or not. I'm not really seeing any differences at this point. Remember, this is beta software. So since I'm not seeing any differences, I'm not recommending it yet. When the full version comes out, or if there's another beta update, we might go back and revisit this. For right now, I'm not necessarily seeing a lot of change from the abdomen area. I don't know what the difference is supposed to be between abdomen and abdomen area. So we're going to skip that. Next, we're going to move on to high key. Okay, in this photo, this actually was a photo I had for other purposes because it was a bit overexposed and flat. So I've gone through and made some changes in the Essentials tab just to kind of bring that up a little bit. And now I just want to show what the high key item does. So you can see how it's really brightening up the background and also brightening up her face. And this is one of those things that I kind of like, this over-the-top high key look. I've used it in some of my Luminar 4 videos. So I'm going to bring this one way up and almost get a little bit of that porcelain skin look. The standard high key, you can kind of fudge the numbers back and forth here and see what you like. I think that's a bit too much, but you're going to need to work this to taste. For this photo, I kind of like this because I'm looking for that kind of porcelain skin look. The dynamic high key isn't really changing what we've done with the standard high key, but except for her hair, take a look at that. And you can kind of pull that back without really losing what you've done for the standard high key. And again, of course, you can choose your blacks if you want more blacks, if you want less blacks. I kind of want to work on the skin tone to stay high key and keep my blacks a bit darker. So in other words, I like her hair being a bit darker. I like her eyes, having the iris and her eyelashes and eyebrows and so forth. So that's kind of what I'm looking for when I see a high key image in my taste. Your taste may be different, but I kind of like keeping this and then letting the skin go into that high key look. So we've got a few other things in our advanced settings. We can add a little bit of glow to this. We can change the contrast level and, lower the contrast, raise the contrast, and do the same thing. I actually kind of desaturate mine a little bit. So in this case, I want to go back and I kind of want to undo some of what I've done on parts of her eyes, maybe her nose and her lips. So if you look at this little icon right over here, select that, you can choose a mask. And you've got options for paint, radial, and gradient. I want to paint, I want to erase, and I'm going to go in, I'm going to zoom into 200% and just kind of get a smaller brush to look at what we've done here. And also, I'm going to do a little bit right here. I'm curious what happens if we unmask. Actually, rather than doing that one, that's going to bring a little too much out. I think what I want to do is I want to change the opacity. I'm going to pull that down to about 38, 40% and bring back a little bit of her lips. Not all of it, because the difference in the color contrast between what we've done with the high key and this is going to be just a bit too much. So let's go back this off and we'll do fit to screen. So that's one possibility. I think I would have done a little bit more contrast on her hair and try and work this out, and maybe smooth some skin going on the skin tools. But the idea is that if you want to do high key, it's really up to you as to how you do it and what kind of look that you're after. I kind of like the porcelain look. Some people really don't. Some people really hate that look. And you don't have to do that with high key. By no means do you have to take it this far, but it's just an example of what you can do with the tools. All right, I'm going to circle back to this portrait because I overlooked other parts of the face tool. So you can see we have face eye over here. We still have eyes and mouth, and apparently I didn't notice those down there. So let's go back and take a look at them. So let's click on eyes. You've got a tool in here where you can change the iris, and you can decide what color you want to be. So you can see she has lovely blue eyes. Let's go ahead and zoom in a little bit. I'm going to go through a few of these, not every one of them. So let's say if we want to change her eyes to green. You can see that change to green. It just really jumps out. So this is where you come down to iris visibility. And if you want to, you can pull that down a little bit so the effect isn't quite so strong. Now, there are a couple of gimmick ones in here. So for example, if you want to turn her into a cat, you can see how it's really changed the pupil of the eye. That really creeps me out. And then you've got another one over here for owl, and that creeps me out too. But if you're looking for some jokes, you can do that. There are a couple of colors in here, like this one for mint. It's an interesting color. For example, if somebody had contacts and you want to make them look like they had contacts, maybe you've got a background and you want the eyes to match the background, the possibilities are there. And you can change how they look with this iris visibility. So you can see as you pull it way up, you get a little striations in the eyes. It's much bolder. I don't think that looks real or believable, so I kind of tend to pull that back. I'm going to go back up to original. And I like the iris visibility where it is. Now, iris flare, I'm going to bring this one way up. So you can see how it's really determined the contrast inside of the eyes. I think I'm going to bring that down a little bit, but leave some of it in there. Enlarging the eyes is a choice that you can make as far as do you want to change who they are or not. I look at this as slimming the face or slimming the body. It is an enhancement that I think if you do subtly, it makes people more relatable. It makes it easier to connect with them because we do look at their eyes. So I would probably take around 20 to 25 to enlarge their eyes. And let's do a quick before and after. So you can see it's almost like the eyes opened up a little bit. If you take this all the way over to 100, you've really got bug eyes going here. It doesn't look real or natural, but I think just enhancing the eyes or enlarging them between 20 and 25 to me is a happy space. Eye whitening is going to depend upon the person and how they're lit. You want to enhance the whites. You don't want them to be white. So if we take eye whitening all the way over to 100, this is not a natural look. This is like I've got flashlights in my eyes. Again, I think this looks best. I'd say around 20 to 25, maybe definitely under 30. You want the eye whites to be a little brighter. This is called the sclera. And that information does you no good, but now you've got another word to use. The eye enhancer, I'm going to bring this up to 50. And you can see how this is just adding a bit more clarity, contrast, and color inside of the iris. It's another one that I think is a good look to use, but I wouldn't use it quite that high. Now, we don't have any red eye going on here. Dark circles would be kind of in this area underneath that. And I usually start this off at 50% to see, do we see anything over here? I don't see anything in her eyes that really requires this. And then where we go to improve eyebrows, I'm going to bring it up to 50, and it'll kind of thicken up a person's eyebrows. And you can see that we've gotten a bit thicker on our eyebrows. We've also gotten a bit darker. So use this with caution. If you use it too much, it's adding black in there, and it just doesn't look natural with the rest of her hair. So I'd say it works great with brunettes. I'm cautious of using it with people who may have blonde hair, red hair, maybe a touch of gray. So use that one with caution. All right, so let's go take a look at the mouth. And we've got the same options that we had with Luminar 4. So we've got teeth whitening, which in this photo, we don't have any teeth. I'll go ahead and find another portrait when we get down to that. Let's take a look at the lip saturation. Again, something a little subtle. You can make it a little red, and you can darken it up a little bit. So all of those changes are happening. We're just going to go turn this off. and turn it back on. And you can see that we've just kind of we've got her lips a bit pinker, a little bit redder, a little bit darker. All right, so the teeth whitening, let me get one more photo and then we'll wrap things up. All right, so as it happens in my demo folder, I've only got one person that's actually showing a smile, and we've got some teeth to work with. And she's got some pretty white teeth as it is. But let's go ahead. I'm going to move this up to about halfway, and you can just see the result of the example over here. So there's our before, and there's our after. Teeth, much like eye whites, the sclera, should not be white. You want them to be brighter. You don't want them to be a flashlight. So if we go all the way up here, it distracts your attention. Remember, your eyes are drawn to the brightest thing in the photo. So if you've got teeth that white, everybody's going to be looking in here and rather than her eyes. We haven't enhanced the eyes on this subject yet, but I would say do your teeth whitening to enhance what's already there, not to be so bright that they distract you from the rest of the person's face. All right, that's a look at everything in the portrait tab. So we have the Face AI, which includes face light, slim face. We have tools to enhance the eyes and the iris. We've got tools to enhance the mouth, the lip saturation, and the teeth whitening. We went through Skin AI. And again, that one is one that I say use it with a little bit of caution, but it does exactly what you want it to do. You can go ahead and do some skin smoothing and make it a very natural looking result with texture, with pores, and then you know you're in the right place so long as you haven't lost that. There's a little bit of shine removal, depends again on your subject. And when you've got those specular highlights, you don't want to lose the highlight. You just want to get rid of the specularity. So keep that in mind as you're using this. Skin defects removal works, but I didn't see it on this particular version because I didn't have a subject that had a defect. If I recall if it's the same as what we had with Luminar 4, I think it does a good job, but you may still have to go into the healing brush or the clone stamp brush to get some small items out of the way. So keep that in mind. I would use the skin defects removal first, and then if there's something that it didn't pick up for some reason, go use the clone and stamp tool or the healing brush. The body AI is something that you can have some fun with, but don't. Basically, it's like I say with a lot of the portrait tools, you want to use this to slightly enhance somebody so they feel a little bit better about themselves. Their friends say, oh, you look good in this photo. If you go warp somebody way out of shape, they're going to know it. It's not going to be a flattering look on them. Keep in mind, it starts off in the center with body AI. So you can slim somebody down by moving it to the right. You can add a little bit of girth by moving it to the left. The abdomen tool is interesting. It seems to work in the abdomen area, but on the photo that I had, I didn't see that it really enhanced anything. And the abdomen area, I'm not seeing results yet, so that may be something that we'll see down the road, or maybe I just need to try another photo. Finally, High Key is not an AI tool, but it gives you some opportunities to do something creative and different with your photos rather than just simply enhancing different body parts. I really like High Key portraits. You need to do more than just put any photo out there. You need to take the photo in such a way that there's a light and airy feel around it, and then High Key enhances that. If you have a dark photo on a black background, High Key is not really going to help you that much. And matter of fact, I wouldn't even try it. But High Key is an interesting portrait look. If you like this, please go ahead and share it with a friend. And also, go ahead, click the like button. That tells YouTube if I'm doing something right. And finally, if you'd like to see more of this, click the subscribe button. And you will also want to click that little bell notification icon. That way you'll get a notice every time I create another video. Thank you so much. We're going to have a link below if you'd like to order Luminar AI in advance. You'll get it before anybody else does on general availability. And I'm going to continue to do more of these videos, give you more tutorials on Luminar AI Beta. And then when the final product comes out, we'll go back and do the same thing again. And just in case anything's changed, and we'll see how all that works. Talk to you later.